In a recent filing earlier this month, Special Counsel Jack Smith previewed to the Washington, D.C. federal court the types of evidence he's going to be introducing at trial. Here's what Special Counsel Jack Smith wrote in his motion. As described in a government's previous opposition, the government plans to introduce evidence at trial showing that in the years since the January 6th attack on the Capitol, the defendant Donald Trump has openly and proudly supported individuals who criminally participated in obstructing the congressional certification that day, including by suggesting that he will pardon them if reelected, even as he has conceded that he had the ability to influence their actions during the attack. Now, over the weekend, Donald Trump has added to that evidence that Special Counsel Jack Smith intends to introduce at the criminal case against Donald Trump. Here's what Donald Trump stated during a speech he gave in New Hampshire. Play the clip.
Minneapolis, where they took over the police station, they took it over and they burned it down. By the way, what happened to those people? Are those people in jail with the J6 hostages? What happened to those people, come to think of it? They're not in jail with the J6 hostages. I don't call them prisoners, I call them hostages. They're hostages.
There, Donald Trump stated that he doesn't call them prisoners. He says he calls them hostages. That will be an exhibit in the criminal case against Donald Trump. What else will be exhibits in the criminal case against Donald Trump? Let me lay it out for you right now, what this type of evidence is going to look like. Here, Donald Trump went on Meet the Press, and here's what he said about the Proud Boys. And he said that he would definitely look into pardoning the leaders of the terrorist white nationalist organization called the Proud Boys. Play the clip.
Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio was sentenced to 22 years in jail. Now that you know what the sentence is, 22 years in jail, will you give him a pardon? Will you give other Proud Boys a pardon?
I don't know him. I never met him. I never heard of him until I started reading this stuff.
Will you pardon him?
But I want to tell you, he and other people have been treated horribly.
Will you pardon him?
In Minneapolis, I'd certainly look at it. I'd look at that, and I'd look at all the other people that have suffered, the J6 people.
Here is an audio recording of Donald Trump saying that he would absolutely pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. Play the clip.
There'd be a lot of pardons and commutations of people that you think were treated unfairly, J6 defendants, January 6 defendants under an administration, your administration?
Yes, absolutely.
Here, Donald Trump brags about making a musical with January 6th insurrectionists who are in jail right now. Some of the most dangerous January 6th rioters, called the J6 Choir. Donald Trump lies and says that it has more people listening to his songs with the J6 Choir than listen to Taylor Swift.
Are you really beating Taylor Swift, by the way?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. The J6 is beating Taylor Swift. It's Donald Trump and the J6 prisoners.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
On iTunes and on Amazon and on Billboard, which is the big deal. #1, Donald Trump. So now I feel like Elvis, because now we've done The Apprentice. That was a great success. We did. Now I've done a recording or whatever you call it. But no, it was #1. And you know what that is? That's a tribute to the fact that people feel the J6 people have been very unfairly treated.
And here, at all of the speeches that Donald Trump gives, before he delivers his speech, he plays the song with the J6 Choir, and everybody in the crowd puts their hand on their hearts and praises allegiance to the J6 rioters. And then Donald Trump says how great his song is with the J6 terrorists. Play the clip.
And they asked me whether or not I would partake and do the beautiful words, and I said yes, I would. And you saw the spirit. The spirit was incredible. And when that came out, it went to the #1 song. It was beating everybody. It beat Taylor Swift. It beat Miley Cyrus, who was #1 and 2. They were #1 and 2. We knocked them off for a long time.
Also, a few months back, Donald Trump gave a special address to the January 6th defendants. Play the clip.
Unconstitutionally, in my opinion, and very, very unfairly. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. And you know what I've said. I take it very seriously. I have never seen anything like it at all levels. It's the weaponization of the Department of Justice, and we can't let this happen in our country, because our country is going not socialist. They've skipped over that. They skipped over socialism. Our country is going communist. This is what happens, and we can't let it happen. We have to stop it. So I want to thank everybody for working so hard. I know how hard you're working to get justice for people that are imprisoned right now and people that are being tormented. We can't let it happen. We're going to stop it. And we're going to win. Thank you all very much.
Here, Donald Trump attacks the Capitol Police, and he praises Ashley Babbitt, an individual who tried to attack the police, someone who was with insurrectionists, who was trying to break into an area where members of Congress were hiding, screaming, "F the police, we're going to get you, we're going to get you," after she resisted and tried to break through in an area with the violent insurrectionists. She was shot and killed, and now Donald Trump and all of MAGA attacks law enforcement for that and praises the terrorists. Play the clip.
This is what's happening to our country. Ashley Babbitt's mother was arrested yesterday because she was protesting the death of her daughter being shot by a lunatic who's got a record of not so good. And then they try and protect him, and they do things, what they've done to that family. But they shot her. There was no reason. And then they arrested because the mother was in a group. And they arrested yesterday the mother of Ashley Babbitt. So she loses her daughter, and then on top of it, she gets arrested. And we not going to let this go on. We're not going to let this go on. These people are horrible, horrible people. These are horrible. And what they've done to protesters. I mean, these were protesters. They were protesting a dishonest election. And whenever you mention that, they don't want to ever talk to you because they don't want to have that, out there.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber 8x8 and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Midas. That's oracle.com/Midas. Oracle.com/Midas. Here, Donald Trump thanks his little buddy, MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, for releasing January 6th footage, and MAGA Mike wants to blur the faces of the insurrectionists so that they can't be identified. And then MAGA Mike only released a small portion of it, and then all of MAGA lied and said that one of the insurrectionists who was holding and smoking a vape while in the Capitol building was actually holding a badge. It was a vape, and we know who this insurrectionist was, someone who was actually guilty of crimes. But here Donald Trump is praising MAGA Mike. Play the clip.
Congratulations to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson for having the courage and fortitude to release all of the J6 tapes, which will reveal completely what really happened on January 6th. Thank you very much, Mike.
And here is Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, on a right-wing show with a right-wing podcaster named Benny Johnson. And here's just what the right-wing people are saying, the right-wing podcast. You don't have to go, hey, what's Ben saying about this? This is just your spin. No, this is what they are saying. Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, reveals Trump secretly hosted families of political prisoners at Mar-a-Lago. They call the January 6th terrorists political prisoners. Play the clip.
We have a lot of Trump fans in the audience. Can you give us a final sort of overview of his mood right now? How is he personally approaching this? What is he telling you to do? So on.
Yeah, I was with him last evening. He was playing music at Mar-a-Lago, enjoying himself and living his best life, because this is his best life. It's been since 2015 and 16. As you know, he walked down that gold escalator. He left all his peace behind him. But I will say one thing that I think will tell your viewers who he is. Before he started dinner last night, he stood up and he played that January 6th orchestra song. And we stood up and we said the national anthem. And we all stood there with our hands over our hearts. And we prayed for this country. We were there with families of January 6th, people that have been falsely imprisoned. And they were crying over at a table over there. And you know what? That man, he stood up, he shook their hands, he gave them hugs, and he just keeps on fighting. And that is why I'll see you in the White House in 24. He's going to be there, and I'm going to be happy to visit.
I mean, I think that's a little bit of news. I haven't seen that anywhere. So Donald Trump was hosting January 6th families, political prisoners last night.
You know what? He doesn't do it for optics. He does it for some of these people. They're not prisoners. They're family members of people that have been falsely imprisoned that happen to be there. And he took the time to get up. And one woman was crying. You know, you don't understand this man. He's got such a big heart, and that passion and that anger that you sometimes see come out is because he has such a big heart and such a love for this country. If you don't love something, you don't get angry. But he loves this country and he's watching it go to hell. And it's incredibly infuriating. But he's in good spirits, and he's a tough cookie.
I mean, you know, billionaire, Hollywood star, real estate mogul, president. Now you have to add number one Billboard recording artist.
Yeah, she's like
Elvis. They're gonna hate that. But Donald Trump has the number one song on Billboard last week.
I told him that. I go, sir, you're Elvis.
He does love Elvis and James Brown. Man, we've been there for Donald Trump playing music. He's a great DJ. Thank you, Alina Habba, so much for this important update, and Godspeed.
Thank you, Benny. Good to see you.
And then, of course, at Donald Trump's most recent speech, he demeans our nation and says that we have a horrible country. That's what he always says. All they do on MAGA is speak horribly about our great nation. Play the clip.
It's a great country. And by the way, it's not a great country anymore. It's a total mess. Our country is not a great country anymore. Our country is a mess. You remember CAG, Keep America Great. I couldn't use it. I said America's not great now.
Oh, of course, and there's one more here. Donald Trump praises Vladimir Putin. And Donald Trump says that Putin says that President Biden is a threat to democracy and that Putin should be the source for democracy. Wow, has the MAGA Republican Party, has the Republican Party become so disgraceful as the MAGA Republicans have taken them over. What an utter disgrace and group of traitorous, treasonous people. Play the clip.
And remember this, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's a threat. And you know, we'll bring in adversaries, and I'll bring it in right now, but even Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system, which cannot pretend to teach others about democracy. So, you know, we talk about democracy, but the whole world is watching the persecution of a political opponent that's kicking his ass. It's an amazing thing.
And there you have it, folks. That's the evidence that Special Counsel Jack Smith will be introducing. As I stated earlier, Jack Smith earlier this month already filed a motion with the district court about the type of evidence he's going to be introducing, and it's going to be all that stuff that I just showed you, of course, with the new footage from this past weekend of Donald Trump praising the January 6th insurrectionists. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.